All right, so now we're at 8.4, same thing. This is level 4, some more examples here. Okay. All right, so rationalizing the denominators. This is a really important process here. It's the process of eliminating the radical form from an expression's denominator. So basically says that, look, if you have a radical in the bottom here, the denominator of a fraction, that can't be. That's not correct. That's not the right way to write things, all right? So mathematics, we learn there is a way to get rid of that. So here's how we do that. So if I have a radical down here, what do I need to do to get rid of this? Well, just like when you're trying to change fractions to have a common denominator, what you end up doing is you multiplying the denominator, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 1, but I'm going to make the 1 look slightly different. I'm going to go ahead and multiply by radical 7 over radical 7. Okay, and I know that rad 7 over rad 7 really is another way of writing 1, right? I'll just do this one time real quick. So it's just like multiplying by 1, and I know that I can multiply by 1 and it doesn't change anything. But it will change the way that it looks. So if I figure this out, I'll write it long ways here for the first time. 5 times radical 7. On the bottom, I'm going to have radical 7 times radical 7. All right, so rad 7 times rad 7. That's like saying rad 7 squared. So I know that that's really just 7. And up top, well, I leave that 5 radical 7. I can't do anything about that. So what I've done right there is I just rationalized the denominator. I made the denominator, which was once irrational, to a rational number, okay, just by multiplying by that. All right, let's take a look at another example. Feel free, you can pause this and see if you get the same thing that I got, but all I got to do is I take a look and I say, I don't want that radical there, so what I need to do is I need to multiply by radical 3b, but if I multiply the bottom by that, I have to also multiply the numerator by that so that it's the same. Again, this is just a big 1 here, it just looks different. All right, so I'm going to go and write this out. Radical 2 times radical 3b over radical 3b times radical 3b. All right, so the whole idea here was this part right here. I want to change that. So if you multiply by the same thing, the radical sign just goes away. You're going to have 3b on the bottom. On the top, I'm going to have, let's see, 2 times 3, which is now 6, and then my b portion. Another way you can think about this, if you're not seeing how this is coming about, you can see that, look, these are both inside the radical symbol, so this would be 3 times 3, which is 9, b times b, which is b squared. Well, isn't that the same thing as radical 9 times radical b squared, which radical 9 is 3, and radical b squared is just b. So there's another way of thinking about it, okay? All right, so here's some guided practice problems. Go ahead and pause it, try these 3 out, and see if you get what I get here in a second. Okay, I'm just going to do these real quickly. I'd multiply by radical 3 over radical 3, and I get 1 times radical 3. I don't need to really have that 1 there. There's that first answer. For number 2, I would multiply by rad x over rad x. I get radical x over x. Done there. And over here, I'm going to multiply by radical 2x, which I get 3 rad 2x over 2x. Done.